Welcome. I'd like to thank you for joining us today to pay tribute to those men and women who bravely fought for our country. We are thankful for their selfless service. This year, we've had to make some changes to the way we honor on Memorial Day. The COVID-19 shutdown has canceled or postponed many things in our lives. But today, we stand before you to pay tribute to the men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice defending our freedoms. American Legion Post 468 Commander George Dadson Jr. and I are honored to be here before you to offer thoughts on this Memorial Day and participate in the annual reading of the names of Greece residents that did not return to their loved ones while service to our great nation. At this time, I would like to have Commander George Dadson join me as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Commander?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commander. George Dadson is the commander of Post 468. We're honored to have you with us today, and I'd like you to offer a few comments.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning. Every crisis has new heroes. During the 9/11 attacks, there were first responders running into burning and crumbling buildings as others ran out. Now, during the coronavirus pandemic, the most visible heroes are the healthcare professionals who are saving others and risking their own lives while doing so. These heroes have much in common with the people that we honor today, America's fallen veterans. They are men and women who have sacrificed their own lives so others could live. They are both elite and ordinary. They are the elite in the sense of character. Giving your life so others could live is the ultimate definition of selfless. They are ordinary in the fact that they represent the diverse fabric of our country. They are rich and poor, black and white, men and women. They come from every ethnicity and background. In short, they look like every one of us. As we celebrate the selfless and untiring performances of the healthcare workers during the COVID-19 pandemic, it brings to mind the military medics, the doctors, the nurses, who sacrifice their lives while treating others on the battlefield. One such hero, Pharmacist Mate 3rd Class Jack Williams. The Navy Reserve Corpsman was only 20 years old when he landed on Iwo Jima 75 years ago. On March 3rd, 1945, James Naughton, a Marine in Williams' unit, was wounded by a grenade. While under intense enemy fire, Williams dragged Naughton to a shallow depression and treated his wounds. Williams used his own body as a screen and was shot 4 times, yet he continued. After he treated Naughton, Williams dressed his own wounds. He then proceeded to treat another Marine despite his own immense pain. While heading to the rear, he was hit by a sniper's bullet and killed. For his actions, Petty Officer Williams was awarded the Medal of Honor. We also remember Army veterans like Lieutenant Sharon Land. According to her biographer, Philip Bigler, Lieutenant Land threw herself into her work as a nurse. While serving in Colorado, she requested a transfer to Vietnam. There, at least, you are busy 12 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week, she said in a 1968 letter to her parents. Her dedication was obvious, even as she treated enemy Viet Cong soldiers who would return the favor by kicking, cursing, and spitting at their American captors. In the early morning of June 8th, 1969, Sharon's tour of duty ended. A Soviet-built rocket struck the hospital. Lieutenant Sharon A. Land was killed in action at age 25. If she were still here today, her skills as a nurse might still be benefiting us during the current crisis. But not all the heroes working during the COVID-19 pandemic are in the healthcare industries. Grocers, first responders, delivery workers, drive-through restaurant employees are just a few of the many people that we rely on to provide vital services for society while risking their own safety. The military also has heroes in every occupational field. Truck drivers, cooks, administrative clerks have all paid the ultimate price at sea, on land, or in air. Military service requires great risk. Roy Knight Jr. was a pilot in the U.S. Air Force on May 19, 1967. He was shot down while attacking a target on the Ho Chi Minh Trail in Laos. He was posthumously promoted to colonel. Last year, a joint team from the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency discovered and later identified Colonel Knight's remains. When his remains arrived at Dallas Love Field, a crowd had gathered to witness the dignified transfer of the flag-draped casket from the Southwest Airlines jet into the receptive arms of military honor guard. One observer reported that the entire crowd fell silent. The Southwest flight was piloted by another Air Force veteran, Colonel Knight's son, Brian. Brian Knight was only 5 years old when he said goodbye to his father as the elder Knight left for Vietnam. This is yet another legacy that these heroes leave behind, a legacy that includes their sons, their daughters, their grieving parents, grandparents, and friends. Their heroic acts are sometimes performed to protect those with whom they serve. One of our own, Corporal Jason Dunham, was a squad leader with the 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines in Iraq. On April 4th, 2004, his squad approached a Toyota Land Cruiser. After his squad discovered AK-47s in the vehicle, the enemy insurgent exited and engaged in hand-to-hand fighting with the unit. The driver dropped a grenade. To save his fellow Marines, Corporal Dunham made the ultimate sacrifice. He threw himself on the grenade and tried to use his helmet to shield the blast. Severely wounded by the grenade's fragments, Corporal Dunham was taken off life support 8 days later. Corporal Dunham died so other Marines could live. He too was awarded the Medal of Honor for his gallantry. Approximately 1 million men and women of the U.S. military have lost their lives in the defense of our nation since the founding of its great republic. Not all have died from enemy fire. Some have died from disease that have too often festered around war zones. Oftentimes, deaths from disease and accidents outnumber the casualties caused by enemy weapons. During the Spanish-American War, 60 soldiers of the all-black 24th Infantry Regiment volunteered to serve as nurses. 36 of them would later die of yellow fever or malaria. A generation later, the flu would kill nearly 16,000 U.S. soldiers in France during World War I. Another 30,000 American service members died in stateside camps. These men and women could have isolated safely in their homes, but they knew they had an important job to do, a mission to accomplish. They were all on a mission to serve. Even when the enemy is an invisible virus or a microscopic germ, the sacrifices made are just as meaningful. The U.S. military has already lost service members to COVID-19. This Memorial Day, as we continue to honor those who fell for us in battle, let's also pause to remember those who have also sacrificed their lives while serving others. May God bless them all. May God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Commander Dadson, for sharing those stories regarding true national heroes. It's what today is all about. Thank you. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to the town of Greece for a virtual Memorial Day ceremony. It is my honor to partner with Commander George Dadson in hosting this modified Remembrance ceremony today. While many may think of Memorial Day as the kickoff to summer, today, in fact, is a solemn day. We need to reflect to the true meaning and take some time to thank the brave men and women of our armed forces who have given their lives in service to our nation. In remembering their sacrifice, we also honor the principles that founded our nation. I am the proud son of a twice wounded, disabled World War II veteran. I grew up in a household that honored the belief that the courage of those who have fallen is realized by remembering that freedom demands much of all of us. One of the greatest characteristics of our nation is, without a doubt, freedom. It is the notion that we have embraced so well, yet it continues to be threatened on a daily basis. Our armed forces are the ones that have been given the responsibility of defending our freedom and everything that it stands for. We owe it to them to offer our support and to honor their dedication to the job at hand. And that, my friends, is why we are here today. It is just one way we, your elected officials, family, friends, neighbors, citizens of our great town of Greece, can truly express our gratitude to those who have served this great nation. We have again this year added several names to our memorial wall, paying tribute to the sons and daughters of our Greece community who have bravely served our country. I will invite you to pay a visit to our memorial wall in front of Town Hall, named after our own Gary Bykirk. It has become a place to meditate and silently give thanks to those from our community. Those that wore the colors of the United States of America and were all ready to serve at a moment's notice. We are grateful to all that returned safely, and today we stand as one to share our gratitude to those that did not. To the military men and women who walk among us each and every day, I would like to once again say thank you for all that you have done. You will never know how grateful we are for your sacrifices. This town and our great country are strong because of your service, devotion to protecting all of us. We mourn with you and for you whenever a precious life is lost. We stand alongside you as you stand firm for all that makes this country so great. As we go forth, let us hold our hearts and our minds, in our minds, those who died for the name of freedom. I would ask that everyone please pause for a moment of silent tribute for those that did not return. Thank you. Let us all keep in our prayers those that serve our nation today as they continue to fight to preserve the basic fundamentals of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And two, let us keep our thoughts and prayers those that are suffering from COVID, those that have passed, and all of our frontline workers who care for the sick. God bless the great town of Greece, the state of New York, and God bless the United States of America. We'll now continue with the tradition of reading the names of our brave and courageous servicemen and women from the town of Greece who gave their lives defending our freedoms. Named after our own Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Gary Bykirk, this living memorial pays tribute to those who have fought to keep our nation free and safe. I will begin with Gordon R. Allen, James P. Armstrong, Harry J.C. Arnold, Albert Baker Jr., Robert B. Baumer, Clarence S. Baxter, Patrick Raymond Baxter, Louis J. Beamish, Leo J. Ben, Leo T. Bernhardt, Donald E. Betty, Carl P. Bozell, Charles A. Boyd, Kermit T. Britton, Walter O. Britton, William H. Brown, Jeffrey Bruce, Robert Bison, James W. Buckley.
Lawrence T. Buckley, Wayne R. Campbell, Dennis C. Cannon, Harold R. Carlson, Wesley J. Christian, Marvin R. Collins, Anthony S. Kamada, Donald F. Cornwall, Howard L. Kostar, David C. Crane, Richard F. Cronin, Robert F. Cronati, David Allen Curtis, Lloyd L. Curtis, George J. Dietrich, David J. Duggan, Richard F. Dunham, Thomas J. Eckwell, Charles A. Emmerich,
Luther D. Eckridge, Francis M. Ferguson, George Fisher, Jr., Guy W. Fraser, William C. Gehring, Jr., Carl A. Glenzel, Donald L. Graves, David E. Green, Brock D. Gretzner, Frank Gillard, Robert H. Halbrook, David F. Hare, Ricky G. Hassman, Alan Hopewell, James Hockridge, Hobart W. Hondorf.
Raymond Horswell, Graham Hughes, Thomas H. Imson, J. W. Elton Jackson, Donald J. Jacks, James B. Keegan, William S. Collar, Gary R. Kuhlman, Richard J. Leamreux, Stephen R. Lancaster, Charles Lantry, Jr., Earl J. Lawson, John H. Leenan, Edwin A. Leschander, Robert J. Loden, Arthur F. Loftus, David G. Lupin, Edward G. Lynn, Kenneth Lynn,
William F. Morosco, George E. Martin, Nicholas P. Martin, Vaughn C. Martin, Peter D. Madrazo, Donald McCann, John McCall, Albert I. McCarthy, Jr., Carl McCarthy, Jr., John P. McKay, Charles D. McPherson, Pierre C. Misch, Phil R. Miller, Dewey Mott, Jordan W. Pace, Theodore A. Pepe, Dred Parks, George T. Pollock.
James B. Pickworth, Jr., Leo W. Pylan, Willard E. Purdy, Wesley R. Pushzak, Raymond J. Quinlan, George W. Quinn, Ronald G. Quinn, Robert F. Reed, Bernard R. Ryan, Paul Salatino, Jr., Edward F. Shaler, Ralph B. Shreb, Brian Keith Schramm, James H. Scorse, Eugene B. Seals, Roy Sheesby, Everett G. Shores, Richard A. Smith.
Robert Charles Smith, Donald James Smith, Jr., Charles H. Staples, Stanley J. Staples, George W. Stone, William J. Studley, Patrick J. Sullivan, Theodore Sawowski, Arthur J. Tallinger, John H. Tubb, Roy C. Tillis, Jr., John W. Usher, Jasper Van Neal, Jr., Camille Versees, Elmer R. Vogt, Harold Wallace, Gary M. West. As a community, the town of Greece is blessed to have good neighbors and a strong commitment to uphold the ideals of our nation. Thank you all for joining us here. May God bless you. May God bless the town of Greece and our great nation. Thank you.
Thank you.